Santa's watching, Santa's creeping, now you're nodding, now you're sleeping. Were you good for Mom and Dad? Santa knows if you've been bad. There might be a treat for you in Santa's bag of toys, but Christmas won't be fun and games for naughty girls and boys. Oh, Santa's watching, Santa's waiting, everybody's celebrating. Did you do your best this year? Too late now, 'cause Santa...
Ho, 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 and welcome to my horrific holiday special. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you, and to celebrate this momentous holiday, I'm going to be talking about some Christmas movies. Now, most of the time when you think about Christmas movies, you think about the happy, joyful movies, movies like Christmas Vacation and Elf and Polar Express, but have you ever thought about all of the Christmas horror movies that are out this time of year? That's what we're going to be doing today, ranking my top 5 Christmas-themed horror films. Now, I had to use the word horror a little bit lightly because a lot of these films kind of dive into comedy as well, but you know what? That's okay. It's still Christmas. We're still going to have a fun time. So, get some popcorn, get some eggnog, and settle down as we count down the top 5 Christmas horror movies. And before we begin, I just want to let you know that I have not seen all Christmas horror films, so if I'm missing something that you really like on this list, make sure to leave me a comment below so I can know what are your favorite Christmas horror films. With that being said, let's jump into the top 5. Silent Night, Deadly Night tells the story of Billy Chapman, a scarred and young little boy who watches his parents get killed by Santa Claus. Of course, not the real Santa Claus, a murderous imposter, but nonetheless, this scars young Billy, and throughout his childhood, he is constantly reminded that the naughty will be punished. So, when he becomes an adult and has to dress up as Santa Claus at his new job, he soon realizes that he must become Santa Claus, and in turn, punish the naughty. I saw this movie for the first time last Christmas, and I have to say, it's definitely a unique experience. When this movie first came out, a lot of critics hated the film. A lot of people said it was horrible that Santa Claus would be walking around killing people, and in a way, I understand the backlash, but at the same time, this deals with the trauma that someone's dealt with from their childhood, building up until they're an adult, and finally we get to see the aftermath of everything that happens.
He brings presents to all good boys and girls.
Your daddy told you that, didn't he? Well, I tell you something. Santa Claus only brings presents to them that's been good all year. To the ones that ain't done nothing naughty. Naughty. All the other ones. All the naughty ones. He punishes.
This isn't my favorite holiday horror film necessarily. I think a lot of it is kind of low budget in a way, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But the biggest flaw for this movie, at least in my opinion, is that at the beginning of the film, you get this really dark, in-depth, kind of psychological drama, more so, and then at the later half, you get kind of a generic slasher, and I wish that generic part would have been tweaked better to complement the beginning. But that all being said, this is still a very iconic holiday horror film, so if you haven't seen it, this Christmas might be the best time to sit down and get scared. Let's move on to number 4. He's nipping at your nose. Jack Frost. Not that Jack Frost, and not the Michael Keaton Jack Frost. No. We're talking about the 1997 horror film, Jack Frost. It follows the same beats as Child's Play, just switch out the killer's soul going into the doll for a killer's soul going into a snowman, which is hilarious, and the entire movie is just campy, over the top, stupid, but in the best way possible. There are some scenes that I don't like, and you can watch my review of Jack Frost to see the specifics of everything, but overall, the movie is just hilarious and over the top. Follows the serial killer Jack Frost becoming a snowman and going on a rampage in the town of Snowminton County. It is very strange, very interesting, and it makes for a good holiday tradition. Let's move to number 3, which goes to Krampus. Yes, Krampus, or however you pronounce that name, is the story of just that, Krampus, the Christmas demon, the Christmas monster, the antithesis of Santa Claus. The movie was directed by Michael Dougherty. You probably know him from Trick or Treat, and just like Trick or Treat, this movie is passionate for the holiday that it covers. And while Trick or Treat was great for Halloween, Krampus is great for Christmas lovers. The biggest gripe I have with this movie is that it doesn't have enough Krampus. But, with that being said, we still get a great look at the character, we have some really creepy toy minions as well, and we also get a very simple yet compelling holiday story that revolves around family and being with family and loved ones around the time of year, but mixing that in with a horrific and funny look at the Krampus folklore character from times previous.
Take me instead.
I do enjoy this movie quite a bit, and I have some merchandise from it in my room, so this is one that I think is going to become a modern holiday and horror classic. Let's move on to number 2, which goes to Black Christmas. Bob Clark didn't just direct A Christmas Story, no, he also directed one of the scariest and most frightful Christmas films ever made, Black Christmas.
Agnes, it's me, Billy. Agnes, don't you tell what we did, Agnes.
This movie is so creepy and atmospheric, it paved the way for other films to come, most notably John Carpenter's Halloween and all of the slashers that would come out of that craze. Black Christmas is a simple story of a psychotic killer that we think is named Billy, but it's not really confirmed in the film. It follows Billy, this killer that we never even see, as he stalks a sorority house and kills the girls inside of it. It's a very suspenseful movie, it's very creepy, it deals with some really heavy drama, and just the way that it was all put together is really nice in this great horror package. This movie freaks me out whenever I watch it, and that's a mix of a lot of things. The acting, the soundtrack, everything a part of this movie just makes it what it is. And I do recommend seeing this one highly for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because you won't forget it. And finally, it's time to talk about my favorite Christmas horror film. You may have seen this coming, maybe not, and I'm not even sure if you would call it a horror film per se, but my favorite is gonna go to Gremlins. How could I not give Gremlins the #1 spot? This is one of, if not my favorite movies ever, and it stands as both a great movie on its own, horror film, I guess, and Christmas movie. You can watch this really any time of year, I guess, but it does fit the Christmas setting really well, with the movie taking place on Christmas Eve, and you all know the story. A little cute Mogwai, I guess it's an Asian, alien or some sort of creature, has rules that go along with it, and if you break these rules, they become little green monsters and attack a small city, and that is exactly what happens in the movie. You have, great special effects. The puppeteering's amazing. The soundtrack is equally as amazing and iconic. You have great voices for both the monsters, you also have great actors for the humans, and the movie just comes together in a magnificent package. I can't really say anything more about Gremlins because I love the movie so much. You can check out my individual review on that movie if you want to, but you probably have seen Gremlins, and you probably know it's a great holiday classic.
I warned you, Brad!
What are they?
That's gonna wrap up, no pun intended with Christmas, this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more horror goodies all year round. And remember, for all things Halloween, this is Haunt-Former.
Garbage Day!
Huh? No!